Hey, 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 Laura J here today with Claudio Silvaggi. How are you today, Claudio?
Hey, I'm living a dream.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
Which is literally what we were having a private conversation about that felt far too valuable to not bring into a public format, given we're literally talking about the feuding of families, the war of worlds, the Game of Thrones experience that we're all living. And it was being explained in relation to my own issue with someone who used me for their benefit, but I also gained from. And I have resolution in order to shift because it's not the first or only experience, because there's something in me that is creating that reality in my world. And Claudio has a tremendous perspective and history with insights to be able to explain it at a deeper level than what I could. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Claudio.
Yeah. Um it's people hear me saying this all the time. Is we are the chosen one of our world, 100%. And our greatest tool in the toolbox is love. But I mean that's where the supply of energy is love. But then our tools are our images. What do we imagine? What do we want our world to be like? And then it gets reflected back to us. And some people say, well, I don't, and it also stems across previous lives. And that's where the battle across the families, where I said the Hatfields and the McCoys, but Laura's probably too young to remember that story, but it's just two feuding families that generation over generation, they keep feuding while they're stuck in a boxing match, except across, there's no such thing as time. So two boxers are giving instant karma back and forth to each other. You hit me, I'm hitting you back, and they keep going, but then at least they hug at the end, right? So when we realize that it's our images that portray back to us, and there's no such thing as time, so our past lives remember what we've done. Just think of Dr. Emoto. He says something beautiful, loving to the water, it remembers, and it's crystalline because it's loving. And he says not good things to that water, and it turns muddy. So the muddy waters are remember us when we return. How do we know what to? I don't have any memories of my past life. Everything you experience is your reminder. If you have a totally beautiful life, you were a beautiful person. And if you continue to be beautiful, your next life's going to be beautiful. If we've done things that weren't good, they're going to show up. It's a perfect system to remind us you can't get away with anything. And we have to go back to love. And it's a cycle. So now we're being induced and we're all being pushed through the eye of a needle. And so all the muddy waters that we left behind now has to get resolved. And it's simple. Just reimagine it. It's your world, nobody else's. Everybody that shows up to is showing you what you're going to need to do for your world. Yeah. So no matter who does what, right? Think about it. I'll tell you a ton of stories. I did some really good things and man, I got good things back for it. That was because of me. Then when something happens that's not good to you, go, that can't be because of me.
Mhm.
Can't be because of me, right? So to everybody out there, please forgive me for not being the loving man I should have always been. I thank you for your guidance to me. And if it didn't feel good, I forgive you because the act of you delivering it is going to come back to you. So I forgive you. I release you. I love you. And now I imagine now I'm going to replay that every time I see your face. We are hugging, we're playing guitar, we're having a great time together. And let's move on and co create the world that we love.
Talk about the ripple effect that you had mentioned earlier in terms of you throw
Right.
the pebble.
Yeah. How can we demonstrate what I'm just babble wording all over the place? How can I illustrate this in pure physics? If you stand with your feet in a pond and that pond is at perfect, peaceful, it's just a beautiful, clear day. It's just everything's at peace. And if you pick up a pebble and you throw it in the middle of the pond, you see waves, and those waves slowly come and they meet your feet. They touch you, you feel it. Who created the wave? Right. The pebble thrower did. So you are the pebble thrower, you are the pebble, and you are the pond. So you're definitely the ones that make, you're definitely the wave because you are it all. You're infinite. We are infinite. No different than the acorn in a tree. We're infinite. Just we got these cycles that bring us back to love, and that's the beautiful part. There's no such thing as duality. Physics doesn't have any dualities. They have polarized opposites that grow and shrink in a beautiful golden proportional ratio, the golden ratio, that beautiful ratio of perfection. But it's when we don't do loving things that perfection gets skewed a little bit. But those are picked up. Those are the waves that we left in the pond.
Cause and effect is one of the 7 Hermetic principles that
Exactly.
was founded by Hermes Trismegistus, allegedly, and that is where natural law stems from, that is proclaimed to be superior than what is common to us all to stand on, which is the common law, cause no harm, loss, or fraud, and keep the peace. Basic tenets that are not seeing us as tenants within the lands that have been capitalized and coined, but simply are available to us as co-creators of a reality that pleases us based on our ability to clear the mud from the waters.
Exactly. Exactly. So that whole monetary system is going to get completely changed over to one without usury, one without interest, one without karmic debt, because that's what it really is. That interest is just keeping us into the debt system because we're under karmic debt. Like I said, for the last 2,000 years, we've had spiritual Alzheimer's. That's the Piscean age, which we're now out of, and that's why everybody's shifting. So we're in that karmic debt because we're the least amount of love and the most amount of free will.
Right.
So the law of the land doesn't seem right. That's because every time we get reborn, we see things in a different light and we want it to be beautiful. But sometimes it won't be if we've left a little bit of baggage behind.
This ironically and seemingly left field, but I haven't fully figured out how to actually apply it specifically, but it actually goes back to Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, which is a word that starts with an M that is actually connected to the difference between être and avoir verbs, that is the difference between to have and to be.
Yeah. Just be, right? That's to be is to be still, is to be closest to stillness is the ether, which is pure love. To have is desire. That's where Lilith comes in. So we had a nice synchronicity about Lilith earlier, right? So yeah, I only desire to find pure love again.
Same. And within the debtor system, you actually have 3 positions which go into who's telling your story, our story. So,
Mm.
first person position is the properia persona position of the office of man, which is actually capitalized and away from the us, the all created at the top of the Zionistic system. The middle point is the conversion point that draws us into the underworld of Anubis's lands that call us under, which is where the Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp stamp comes in to convert us into the titles that have a usury agent as the second person position, which is where someone else is able to speak for us without liability for doing so. and then puts us into a third person position within our own story because now they are able to tell our story for us.
Right. I mean, there's such synchronicities with that and what we're actually going through in the spirit material battle right now. And then you can just go and throw Plato's cave on top of it and they all line up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really is simple. We're just watching a world out there that's in a public usury system because we're all in karmic debt, spiritually in karmic debt.
Mm-hmm.
So now, but the age of Aquarius is John the Baptist. And what is the baptism? What does baptism do? It forgives you of your sins. So we've been holding on to that ritual, waiting for this time now. In 2023 was the peak, not the moment of tipping over. That's where the phoenix rising. That's where Revelation 12:1 happened in the sky. And then in November, Mary steps on the snake in the sky. That's us stepping on that karma with our images. We got to start stepping on the snake. If we don't do it, then it gets done for us at certain alignments in the stars. So people they get timeouts, and a lot of people are getting timeout. That's where your COVID comes in, right? Because your coronavirus. 9 months before Corona was introduced, we already predicted we're going to be going through this before they announced the coronavirus. So it's here. But it's us talking to ourselves on both sides, the material and the spiritual, right? So as above is gonna always mimic as below. So there's a virus. Yes, virus means a snake spitting its poison, and that's our Kundalini spitting out every muddy water that Emoto shows us. That's what the term virus stands for.
Emoto?
Flu comes from the virus, same word. The etymology of virus is a snake spitting its poison. Yeah, we're cleansing. It's a cycle. The phoenix rises.
What is Emoto?
Dr. Masaru Emoto, the guy that does
Oh,
the water,
yes.
right? Talks loving thing. I'm not sure if we said it earlier, but we sort of said that when you talk love into water, it retains it. Water has a memory, and we're in a bath. This is a water. The air is water. Everything's water. So when he talks love, it crystallizes. When he talks non-love, it's muddy. And when an alignment comes that's in one's chart, it wants to cleanse it. Because if that one piece of water is not crystalline, it wants to vibrate because it's being vibrated. So there's resistance in there. So it makes fire, and it's going to get that muddy water and shake it right out. And it'll come out wherever it needs to. Emotionally, physically, doesn't matter. It's time to come out. What are you doing in my body? We want that to happen to us. When we're cleansing, it should be gratitude. It's leaving me. Thank you. Don't wear a label, because if you wear a label, now you don't know who you are.
Yeah. Which is exactly what Doctor and Mrs. and Miss and Mr. and all of the titles that change the original into a status that is other than we originally were.
Right. Spirit, the yin, which is or the first one, zero is spirit, 1, 0, 1, 1, right? First three numbers of the Fibonacci is the Trinity. Zero is spirit. It's the all, right? The circle. No beginning, no end. And everything comes in and out of that circle. That's the zero, right? Then the one, that's the yin. That's the image of the all. That's the image of the perfect. That's why you see the Egyptian walls, they carry the Shen, the circle with a line. He's carrying that in to the mummy to put the soul in the body. Well, there's a zero and a one, and the other body line, there's the other one, the material one. So the three of them, spirit, the image of spirit, which is our internal love in person, and then there's the masculine side of us, right? So the divine feminine and the masculine. Call them both divine, whatever. So there's your three, but they all are part of the all. So really, there's only one, because one and one is the same number. So that's how you get back to there's no duality. There's just illusion of duality because we're all tethered to that pure love, to that whole. The only way in and out of these waters is through the womb of a mother. That's why Mary was the mother of God, because God is us. God is just an anagram. God is 609. The O in the middle is pure. The G and the D is nothing but the 6 and a 9. That's where your God comes from. That's where God is everywhere, because yes, every atom has that 6 and its 9. It's yin and it's yang. The polarity of that atom, it shows very well with a magnet under a ferrule cell. So the physics equals the metaphysics. That's the whole point, right? If we understand that when you look down on a magnet, you can see the 6 and the 9. You can see God. So we're all gods. We're all faces of God, God, but those aren't G's and D's like we know them. That's two spirals on both sides of the all. So sorry for going down to bring that physics in there, but if somebody's out there that understands this, they'll get it. But the whole point is, you said the three of them. Yeah. It's the all and the right and the left, masculine and feminine.
And
But it
earlier,
all boils up. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, it all boils down to what?
The divine feminine, the mother of God. God is not the all. No, God is from the all. It's pure love that we're from. The word Lord in the Bible stems from the word Isha, and Isha means ruling goddess. So there's the word Lord in the Bible 7,222 times. There's more meaning now for you. And the G and the D means Mother Nature, because Mother Nature does that GD pattern all day long from the all, the point in the middle that does, there's nowhere. So Mary is the mother of God. The divine feminine is it. Man is an image, a portrayal, a polar opposite to the divine feminine who holds your hand. So we're all transgenders. We're all have masculine and feminine in us. So we just need to start calling everybody just whatever they want. It doesn't matter. We're not different. Some of us have more divine feminine qualities than others.
Well, the law of gender is also one of the Hermetic principles, as is cause and effect, the law of rhythm, the law of polarity, the law of mentalism.
Right, right. So
And
long as we understand that those two, everyone you said, cause and effect, they're all one,
mhm.
because the cause comes out, but it's tied to it and it accelerates back in. There's your gravity. Gravity is us being reeled back into love. You can't escape it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. We're infinite and we're going back to being totally more loving. So I appreciate what you got coming up. I really do. Because we have to now imagine all that. Because what we're upon is real.
Absolutely. And what I was going to say earlier related to what you had shared when it was still a private call, and that is around your belief around the origins of the Bible tracing back to the Egyptian walls. Tell people about that theory, please.
Right. So the Tanakh is the original Hebrew Bible. I've done all the research. You can go, you can start peeling back the onion. You go all the way back, all the way back, all the way back. What made me do that is because when you see the word Egypt in the Bible over 600 times and they don't talk about the writings on the walls, how could that be? Those monuments and those beautiful images that are out there that are just so, they vibrate with you so immensely. Why ain't nobody talking about those images? Well, because the Tanakh took 10 centuries to write. The first originating Bible that all of them stemmed from took 10 centuries to write. Why so long? 1,000 years. Why? Because they're trying to figure out what's written on the Egyptian walls. But we fell from the Aryan age to the Piscean age. We lost our third eye. We couldn't read what's on the walls. But that's why we left it on the walls, because we knew we're going to have ADD, whatever you want to call those words, those labels that they put on us. No, we're just all have spiritual Alzheimer's. So what's written on the Egyptian walls is the original Bible. That's what the Tanakh took 10 years. And we're actually going through and taking the stories in the Bible, going to the Tanakh, questions back and forth, challenging the words that have been translated and seeing, okay, this is that temple, this is that temple, and this is that temple. We've done 5. Our confidence level is somewhere between 80 and 90% that's it. Those are the ones. Because the stories are all there. They're all there on the Egyptian walls. We left that. We're infinite. We left that for us. That's how much we love us.
Because we are us.
Right. That was us. We did it.
Yeah, absolutely. High five. And
Right.
what you're saying, Claudio, is just strikes me as one of the common vernaculars that we throw around is it's written on the walls, meaning it's obvious.
Right. Yeah. It's so important that we put the right images on the walls because we then take them literal. Because those aren't kings and queens on those walls. That's you. That's you and your journey. So when we took those pictures, that's why it's not easy to put metaphysical understandings in concrete, the message in the bottle. So for when we wake, so it's really important that we put the right messages on the walls. Definitely don't put what not to do.
Right.
Right. Because we've been doing a lot of things that people have taken literally on those walls. We've been doing them and it ain't good.
No. But you say concrete, and if I break the word down with my lauralism, it's the con of consciousness and crete being like creation minus the A
Right. Yes. Yes.
and the extra E for the energy. And
Mhm.
if we actually start to see that there was no kingdom then because the king's domain hadn't been claimed. And people are talking about having dominion over the lands, air, and waters without seeing that if you add an at sign into dominion, you get domination,
Mm.
which is how kings and queens rule.
Right. Yeah.
And we're made to be the fool that is then a pawn in another man's war.
Right. Because they're not realizing that everybody was supposed to be the king and queen of their whole world and coexisting. They took it out. No, there should only be one. No, it's impossible. It's a hologram. Every atom has that ability not to live like us, but it's that whole world, that whole it knows. It's got the whole ability. Every atom knows what you've done. So I don't lock my doors no more. Everything is my karma. And no matter where I go, it will be delivered. So do only loving things, repaint the past, and now everywhere you go remembers you. It's beautiful.
This is the day of reckoning. I reckon it happened now because ultimately, if we start to see that every atom knows what the whole has done, that's when we see that this illusion of anonymity within a corporate realm that is the corporeal body of a corporate nature that incorporates our bodies literally into the fictitious body politic or corporeal body or body of work that a man or woman coined and then gets their head on the coin as the figurehead of the tales that are told, which is then the backside of the same coin that is not actually real outside of the value we give to the fiats that are made to be perceived to be valuable.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
It's absolutely insane. This impromptu conversation that you who are viewing the replay get to benefit from was exactly that, impromptu. So,
Mhm.
not planned, unscripted. And we're going to close it off now. I'll throw it back to Claudio for a final contribution as we round out this call and want to say that we will actually be coming together for a summit that I do hope, Claudio, you will be coming to at Soul's Path Retreat Center in Blackstock on the May long weekend, May 17th to 19th. The details will be shared in a preliminary call where we'll get to meet the others who are all in the all of us that are going to show up willing to share the best we have access to so that we can level the playing field officially. March 6th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when that intro call will be. I'll put the details in the description here. And Claudio, I'm going to throw it back to you for the final word today, please.
Oh, thank you very much. It was impromptu. That's so cool. Yeah. It's invigorating to see what we're all doing and what we're all going for. And just my closing words would be, you're infinite. Get over it. Just love and paint your way. Yeah.
I love it. Get over it, get into it, and let's do it.
That's right. Exactly that.
Peace. Thanks so much.
Peace.